Hi everybody, it's Margaret here with 60 and Me. Hope that you're doing great today, feeling well and strong, and I want to talk to you today about something that I think is going to help you deal with maybe some feelings that you'll be having this time of the year. It seems always a time of year when you're reflecting on the past and looking forward, and maybe give some guidance as to how to deal with emotions that range from fear, despair, worry, just things that come up in our lives. But if we've made it to 60, 65, 70, we actually are optimists. We know that things work out in the end, and somehow that, if we worry about it, it doesn't really change the outcome. And, we are upbeat and positive for the most part. But I think that a lot of people do go through conversations sometimes in the nighttime, sometimes when they're alone. They've gone out into the world and they're bright and sparkly and happy and productive and friendly. And they come home and there's a little dark moments. It's hard. Now, one of our bloggers, Sherry Sachs, wrote this article, and it's actually called "Feeling Despair, Worry, or Fear After 60. You're Not Alone." And she's reassuring us that you are not alone, sitting there tonight, perhaps thinking about these things in a way that's making you feel a bit overwhelmed. As I said, we see the bright side of things. We're optimists, but on the other hand, we've got to deal with things. Now Sherry is a therapist. She's a mother as well. She's got children, so she's had the range of experiences that we have. But she says, she hears stories from women who say things like, I'm just feeling so much worry and feeling overwhelmed by my situation. And then they go on to say why. And there's a whole list of things. And I want to just read some of them because I think that if you're sitting there thinking you're alone with your emotions and your feelings, it might be related to one of these things. And I'm going to take you deeper. So get a cup of tea or coffee, and hopefully we'll get through this together without too many tears, because I think as older women, we are strong, resilient, and we bounce back. We present a face of coping, but underneath sometimes there's more. So she says, if you're not alone, if you have felt these things, overcome by despair, feeling shame for having made a terrible decision or a bad decision in the past, that you're terrified about money and running out of money for the future. You're just certain that you've wasted your life. What about if you fear for your health? You might be going through something right now that, you're thinking, do I really want to know about my health? What are you doing? Sometimes, you're not alone if sometimes you just wish to be completely alone. You just want to be completely by yourself, and that you resent all obligations. You desperately want someone to be there, to listen to you from a deep place and understand and hold you and support you. But at the same time, you want to be independent and not asking for help, not reaching out. You're not alone if you've ever felt lost and confused and indecisive about a decision. This happens all the time. Or sometimes you go through your entire day with an overwhelming sense of sadness. You just feel like you want to cry. These things happen. And so if you said that you identified or you experienced any of those things, you feel crippled by grief, you've had a loss that's just overwhelming in your life, these are things that, can create a moment of truth, where we have to take stock of ourselves, take stock of our, just of our reality. Yes, we can feel amazed, amazed that we've lived this long, that we've experienced all these wonderful things. But then we can look back and we can think, that was a really, I won't say, it could be a bad decision. but that was a really unfortunate decision. If only I had done this at that crossroad. If only I had, made this move rather than that move. I've got so many that I'm sure you have too. And I'm actually quite fascinated by this whole idea of life stories. And I think that for me, having just gone through a birthday recently, I do this every birthday. I actually go through my life story in my mind. I start when I was as far back as I can remember, and then I just go through step by step my life, the things that I remember about my childhood, about my teenage years, my early adult years, work, and so on. And that's that for me, that's been an opportunity to look at some of these crossroads, these forks in the road. Gosh, if only I had done that. If only I'd made that decision, my whole life would be different, or the life of someone in my family would have been completely different. Or if only I'd intercepted or saw something that was there that I didn't notice, and now it's being made clear to me that I didn't pay attention enough in those times. I mean, you know the story, and sometimes these little demons come to visit us at night. They come to visit us in the evening, or even in our dreams, when we stop to think, is this, why is this coming back to my mind now? Why is it coming back to haunt me now, and to make me feel despairing and worried and fearful? Is it something that I need to pay attention with now? Maybe you've got some chronic pain. I mean, it may even demonstrate itself in that way. I mean, anxiety and stress can absolutely manifest itself in that. So, if you've experienced any of these things, I mean, the reason I go through all of this, because I know I'm talking to you. You can hear me. You know that this is what part of what your life is all about. There's the sunshine and the bliss and the wonderful things, and then there's these moments. But if you have identified with anything that I have said here today, you know that you're not alone. And I know when we wrote articles recently about estrangement and about being separated from your children and your grandchildren and partners, that a lot of women said how grateful they were for that article and that conversation, that video, because it just made them feel they're not alone. And I think that is a very big weight off your shoulders when you realize that there really are thousands, millions probably of women who are dealing with the same situation that you are. And I think that that's one of the gifts that 60andMe can give you. I think that's one of the things we do well, is that because I'm in that place and you are in the place too, we actually are working on it together. So you're not alone, and we must be gentle with ourselves. Don't go beating yourself up for any of those things that we talked about. Yes, you can reflect on them. Yes, you can say that would have been a good decision to make. That would have been a wiser path to take. But you don't have to beat yourself up, and you don't have to feel like you're going to ultimately be responsible forever and ever. What do these things do? These moments in your own life, these sad moments of sadness or moments of regret, they give you a compassion for others. And that back to the estrangement conversation. I was so amazed by the responses to the articles about this, because people were just hearing each other. It was taking them to a place where they could feel compassionate and connected, to their sisters. And actually, life, is continually evolving. It's complex. It's scary. There's sometimes tragedy in addition to the good. But there's some things you can do. One is you can write about them. I mean, the life story that I told you about, I'm really fascinated by this, and I might even start to do this myself, maybe write it down. But, write down your life story, your biography, your autobiography. And it doesn't have to be for anybody else's eyes except your own, but that's one thing you can do. You can talk to people. I mean, the 60 community here is a really good place to reach out, because they're all women over 60, and probably have dealt with some of the challenges that you're dealing with too. So that's another thing. But make sure that you reach out to the people that you know are going to support you, because there's a lot of toxic people, probably that you were friends with in your life, that you need to let go. That as they've gotten older, they have taken on their own challenges and issues, and allow your tears to grow, to flow, and allow the pain. Feel it like with all your heart, and then let it go. You've got to let it go. That's the most important thing, is that when you've got these feelings of regret and sadness and fear, just let them go and embrace what you have. You may not have the perfect life that you thought you'd have when you were a teenager or a young person, when you started your career. It may be completely different than what you had anticipated, but it's okay. You made it through. You got to 60, 65, and that's a gift. It really, really is. And so I think that's the thing, is to accept the tears, see that they lead to compassion and depth of emotion, to connect with other people, but don't beat yourself up. Let go of what you can, and don't be constantly regretful for things you did. I hope that this has been a good conversation. I didn't mean it to go I did mean it to go so deep, because that was the whole point of it, is that, we all, whether we talk about it or not, have these dark moments when we do feel fearful, and that's not something to be afraid of or be, you're not unique. You are just being who you are. And that's like millions of other women over 60 on this planet. So thank you for being here, everybody. You know, I'm by your side. I really hope that you're doing well, and I wish you all the happiness in the world, sending you lots and lots of love. Bye-bye for now.